Reporter Joe Ritchie has been tracking the twin issues of border protection and detention and removal. While it's not new for America to set up detention camps, this organized effort to ready stadiums and train stations to process poor people of color is unprecedented. Haliburton subsidiary KBR holds the contracts. All it will take to begin a roundup is for the president to call a national emergency. And several state legislators are urging him to do just that.
Obviously, the laws that are on the books are not being enforced to a point where people are so bold to put it in our face and say, make us legal aliens, and don't do anything to prohibit us from coming across. And they so boldly come out and rally against the constitutional form of government. Whatever the experts deem is appropriate, we need to do it. We need to do it today.
The experts being called in here are large private security and defense contractors. The Department of Homeland Security wants them to develop the mix of new infrastructure, personnel, technology, and to increase their own rapid response capabilities. Even without a new immigration bill, the Department of Homeland Security has $30 billion in discretionary funds to allocate to these companies over the next couple years. The Department of Homeland Security runs Customs and Border Protection on the frontier and Immigration and Customs Enforcement for internal enforcement programs. Both CBP and ICE will expand programs by 20% in each of the fiscal years 2006 and 2007. Source Code obtained copies of the acquisition plan and the final contract awarded by the Army Corps of Engineers to Kellogg Brown & Root. They were the sole bidder for the contract for temporary detention centers. This contract calls for 20,000 beds for immigrant detainees to be ready within 36 to 48 hours. Miami, Florida, Las Cruces, New Mexico, El Centro sector in California, and Beech Grove, Indiana, are ideal locations for these sites. This contingency contract would go into effect if either the President, the Attorney General, or the Director of Homeland Security declared an immigration emergency. Details about this contract have been largely suppressed. When U.S. Congressional Representative Zoe Lofgren and Benny Thompson requested answers about the contract, specifically around what might constitute an immigration emergency, the official response and answer will be forthcoming. To date, no answer has been given. Source code went to Beech Grove, Indiana. We've discovered facilities that look like this. This video, posted anonymously on the web, portrays this old Amtrak repair facility as a prison camp.
Outside this building is fencing and a cattle run section of fence, all topped by barbed wire, pointing inward, not to keep people out, but to keep people in. Inside the fenced area on the other side of the building, you'll see signs that say Red Zone, right up next to the railroad tracks that run the length of the fenced area. Next to the Red Zone sign, you can see closely numbered markers on the fences that are too closely spaced to be parking markers, just as if they plan to have people line up to board the trains.
We investigated claims that the facility was being readied to detain and deport, and FEMA, Amtrak, Homeland Security, ICE, and Northcom all said no such facility existed. We sent a cameraman whose pictures verified much of what is on the videotape. A worried citizen saw the video and contacted his senator, Senator Wyden from Oregon, who requested more information. Wyden recently received a letter from the Army Corps confirming that this facility could be used for processing, detaining, and deporting large numbers in the event of an immigration emergency. There is no secret about any of this activity within the security industry. In fact, the CBP held an industry day where they opened up the planning procedure to 400 security companies. Absent of any clear government policy, it seems that Homeland Security is letting the private sector guide policy. Well-positioned companies like General Dynamics, Raytheon, and Lockheed Martin are going for this sole source, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract.
There's work in CBP on controlling the border. There's significant work and investment that we'll make in ICE to manage the relationship about detention and removal, to do interior enforcement, to do the work that ICE brings to this game. This is an invitation to be a little bit aggressive and thinking as if you owned and you were partners with the CBP.
The situation today, the United States is dramatically increasing its capability to detect, apprehend, detain, and deport large numbers of people. The governors of Arizona and New Mexico have already asked for an immigration emergency to be declared. 8 Colorado legislators are calling for the same. Georgia has just enacted some new anti-immigrant legislation. More protests are planned.
I, for one, think we've got to a tipping point. If that's not a wake-up call, I don't know what is.